Philippines and hello world. I am Mark Francisco and this is Philo-Patrol. Who are we? How can we be happy? Does the universe have its own purpose? These are the questions Greek philosophers are trying to answer. Greek philosophers attend to these questions in a very scientific way and in an imaginative fashion. Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes, three Greek philosophers from Miletus, came up with a cosmological theory based on natural phenomena, and their approach was to reject all traditions, beliefs, myths, and superstitions. The science among Milesians was stronger than their philosophy and crude. Nonetheless, it encouraged observation in many subsequent matters. Did you know that Pythagoras was one of the Ionian thinkers but was outside the Milesian school? He was originally from Samos. His approach in philosophy was a combination of scientific and religious beliefs, something that the Milesian school would be frowned upon. Pythagoras is also the author of the first mathematical equation. I guess he invented math, which makes students sad. Let's talk about an important period in the history of philosophy, the rise of Athens. The sophists are intellectuals who taught various skills and topics, including rhetoric, a very useful skill in Athens. Now these sophists taught in return for a fee. So sophist schools were mostly attended by members of wealthy families and aristocrat families. Now the sophists cope up with the educational needs. They also changed the political era and the political system in Athens. Caught in the clash of innovation and conservatism, we find a very familiar character, a character named Socrates. Now Socrates is just like any other sophist, but he never asked for a payment for his teachings. He primarily focuses on morals and psychology during his teachings, so most of his debates only end up with more questions. Plato was a student of Socrates who left Athens because of the death of his teacher. Upon his return to Athens, he opened his famous academy. Plato had many philosophical ideas, but he is best known for his metaphysical and epistemological ideas. The theory of forms attributed to Plato asserts the notion that moral values possess the highest amount and most fundamental of all kinds of reality. Our world is an imperfect world, and according to Plato, our world is an imperfect parody of lawless and superior to the world of forms. Aristotle is a student of Plato 20 years before founding his own school, the Lyceum. Aristotle covered a wide scope of topics: ethics, metaphysics, physics, rhetoric, and more. He was the first thinker who systematically developed the study of logic. Aristotle wrote 6 works that were later grouped together as the Organon, which means instrument. These texts are considered the body of Aristotle's work on logic. Excuse me. Aristotle's famous contribution is the logic of syllogism. Primarily discusses the first text. A simple example of syllogism is: all men are mortal. Socrates is man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. That's it for Greek philosophy. Now here's Sean to talk about logic. Sean?
Thank you, Mark, for that enlightening report on Greek philosophy. Now it's time to move on the philosophy of logic. Did you know that the word logic comes from the Greek word logos, means the study of methods and principle used to distinguish good reasoning from bad reasoning? Also, did you know that there are 2 parts in every argument? An argument consists of a premise and a conclusion. The premise is the support or evidence, while the conclusion serves as the position or stand a person takes regarding the issue. Fun fact, did you know that the meaning of the Greek philosophy expression "pantere" means everything flows? Pantere is how the Greeks describe Heraclitus' philosophy. So that's it for logic. Here's Brian to bring you philosophy in the modern contemporary.
Hello guys, this is Flow Minute with Brian. We watch films and listen to music every day, but did you know that philosophy can be found in both? If there's one thing movies do better than any other sort of art form, is that it's being uncanny. The Matrix, A Space Odyssey, and Fight Club, you name it. Some films, as you may or may not know, contain philosophical themes and ideas. And these kinds of films are definitely mind-boggling. But one film I would definitely put on top of the list is Memento. For those of you who haven't seen Memento, he died in the end. Just kidding. Or am I? Anyway, director Christopher Nolan places us in the same position as protagonist Leonard, played by Guy Pearce. He suffers from short-term memory loss, and it is as though we, the audience, have to try and piece together what is going on in the same way Leonard does, and our knowledge is based on limited empirical evidences such as Polaroids, tattoos, and notes. So what the hell is so special about Memento? Memento raises issues regarding personal identity. Can we say that a person is still the same person if he has undergone numerous qualitative changes? Is Leonard still the same Leonard 5 minutes ago every time his memory is wiped? We don't know. A person remains the same over time as long as there is some sort of psychological linking relation. John Locke, an English philosopher, put forward memory as the linking technique. Does it mean that Leonard is no longer the guy who got married and had a wife just because he has no recent memories of the past? This would seem implausible, but we can argue that Leonard does fit into this theory, since he has memories that link him to this past, just not memories that are recent. Memento works as a platform for viewers to look at and consider aspects of the branches of philosophy known as the philosophy of mind and personal identity. It's quite hard to believe, but philosophy is also present in music. Mind-blowing, right? Recently, popular music has become an important topic for philosophers pursuing two projects. One, popular music receives attention from philosophers who see it as a test case for prevailing philosophies of music. Second, popular music increasingly serves as a focal point in general debates about art and aesthetic value. Theodore Adorno's philosophic view is that popular music is simplistic, repetitive, and boring, and it's because commercial forces control it in order to placate and manipulate the masses who respond to it. Theodore begins with the insight that popular music is characterized by the synthesis of entertainment, values, and mass art. Now for the summary. To summarize the modernist view, genres of art develop a hierarchy. Higher forms of music satisfy the most advanced modes of response. Now superior genres require attention to abstract structures, so they require focused listening. Therefore, the best music is found in the classical repertoire, where composers have emphasized autonomy and cognitive complexity. And that's all for today for Philo Minute with Brian.